What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. You become a prize whenever great betting content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. As you can probably tell, I'm not in a great mood. I'm just disturbed by everything that I saw in that Suns-Nets game. Talked about it yesterday, and well, the line I did not anticipate opening at 4 and got someone up 4.5. It closes at 7.5, 7, just about everywhere. Got everybody in there earlier in the premium Discord, and Booker misses 2 free throws. Cam Thomas goes for a 40 spot again. I feel like the Nets need to be just tarnished for malpractice. I mean, this is absurd that this dude has not been playing basketball. I don't even know what to tell you right now. It was such a bummer. I ended up very heavy. That ended up becoming a lock play for me over there. The fact that I got a push/loss on a little bit of that, and then everybody that got in at 4.5, it was just pain, suffering all the way around. Oh, but Nikola Jokic triple-doubled in a first half. That was useful. Ended up on Chris Paul, over 8.5 assists. Still some good things, but when I end up on a play and you beat the closing line and you smash everything about it, you can still lose. And that's part of gambling. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But otherwise, go to DraftKings, bet $5, win yourself $200 in bonus bets right now. Go to that video description box below. Click on all the great links we have. We have NBA Bet Pro going there. We have BetMGM offers. And check out my Super Bowl edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Good stuff. Shout out producer Alicia. She was putting in overtime yesterday on a Monday night, but it is Tuesday night. We're covering Wednesday's slate. It's going to be wild. And I want to say this from the get-go. I understand Thursday we'll have all the news, because Thursday, you know, it's just going to be so hard for me to break down. But Wednesday, going into tomorrow, there's going to be things that I can't account for. People who play far fewer minutes than what you expect. People who play way more minutes than you might expect. But usually the former of those two, just because the trade deadline is showing up on Thursday. And teams don't want certain guys to get hurt. They want to be very cautious about certain players. Maybe they'll give other guys a little bit of run. But there's a lot of unpredictability. So even though it's a larger slate, 9 games, I only have one lock for you on the board. Feel pretty good about that person's profile and that they're going to be a part of that team going forward. But otherwise, there's a lot of unpredictability. So I'm going to talk you through the injury situations, talking about prospective pieces, whether it's Charlotte, San Antonio, a lot of teams that could be unloading their rosters coming up to the deadline. It probably should unload their rosters. But with all of that said, long introduction here. Thank you for bearing with me. But damn you, Suns. How do you not? You know what? Screw it. Let's get to the picks. Starting the day off in brutal fashion, Pistons, Cavs in Cleveland, 12.5 total. And this is a bittersweet, I will remember you spot. Could very well be Bojan Bogdanovic's last game as a Piston. I'm sorry, I don't feel like singing today. Unreal to think about that, though. Although it has straight up not been a good time lately backing him in any kind of a regard. Guess it was a push at 21 if you ended up on that a little bit later in the premium Discord. But I digress. They're terrible. The Pistons are terrible. Please hit eject on this team, NBA. Man, we need relegation immediately. Maybe they can join the Nets for malpractice. Cam Thomas, unbelievable. And Cleveland, they are really, really good. Probably why they're second in adjusted net rating this season on dunksandthrees.com and first in adjusted defensive rating. 12.5 for the line. Makes perfect sense to me. As does the 222 total. As do the props, as there is zero injury news looming here. So what do we do? Nothing is the answer. Sadly, I won't even go on our boy Bojan one last time for the old Gipper. One last hurrah or whatever. I don't know the saying. Against this defense on the road in a double-digit spread, if I had to do anything like to save my life, I just needed to find the best value on the board, I'd maybe go over 9.5 rebounds for Mobley. But because I don't have to, I won't, and you shouldn't either. So just a lean, Evan Mobley over 9.5 rebounds. We continue on our merry way. Off to the nation's capital for Wizards hosting the Hornets, and yay! We got the Bradley Beal news to break our way on Monday. He ended up sitting a bright spot in a dim, dark world. But him, Kuzma, will both be questionable for this one after missing the last game. And in the event both play here, they'd be the far more interesting team to back. Duh. Especially because the Hornets are prime sellers at the deadline. They're 15-40 on the season. They don't need to keep anybody besides LaMelo Ball for their future. I mean, they need to roll a full team out every night because this isn't like softball league or co-ed league where you just get a couple bodies on the floor and you just play for 48 minutes and do whatever. But Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee, Terry Rozier, can't see them long for this team. So if a team wants them, come and get them. Can Ball keep them competitive in this one alone? Yeah, sure. It's not like all those dudes might not get moved before the deadline. And, Thursday still is a thing. But pay attention to that news. Something could come from the Raptors, but no way we aren't at least leaning Washington here with a good chance this becomes a bet on the spread if the spread opens up around 6. Yeah, I would take that. If it ends up inside of that, probably a pass, probably move along. Premier game of the day is up next, or at least it should be, but lots of news surrounding this one. Well, one piece of news surrounding this one. The Sixers visiting the Celtics, and Joel Embiid questionable for the Sixers. Most of the time he's played through these kind of situations. It's not quite like the LeBron where he gets ruled as questionable. By the way, I got to check in on my guy LeBron. How's he doing? Oh, he's got 3 points. Just joyous. What a great day today is so far. Oh, hopefully he has 35 when we get to the end of this day. But yeah, Embiid, he'll probably want to go nuts on Boston, a really good basketball team, after his all-star starting snub temper tantrum. He's the kind of guy who likes to stick it to people after stuff like that. He's bitter like that. He's also really funny on Twitter, so I enjoy that. But as it stands right now, the only play I'm in on this game is Jason Tatum over 4.5 assists. It's juiced a bit, minus 130, minus 135, but with the competitive spread and no Marcus Smart, it sounds like until the after the All-Star break, till he'll get back, we're seeing him start to distribute in the massive minutes he's playing in competitive spots. We're talking 38, 39, 40. They're really pushing him. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be as competitive against Detroit, but there you go. I'm just not in love with anything else here. I thought I'd find something else for you, but it is a very meager-like play on Jason Tatum over 4.5. Assist rate meets Jaylen Brown, meets, well, it sounds like Grant Williams might get moved. That was pretty random. Lots of question marks on the Boston side. What are they going to do? But yeah, they're still pretty good. Over 4.5 for our guy Tatum. So I kind of like the Tatum play. I have a play coming up in the next game that is an absolute smash. My favorite play on the board whatsoever. That's called the lock. And if you want to lock it up with me, head over to DraftKings, sign up below in the video description box below, bet $5 or more, and you're going to win yourself $200 in bonus bets. No strings attached. The bet doesn't even need to win. That is the key part. You need to understand that. It doesn't matter how your bet does. That was kind of like The Rock doing the WWE thing. I don't know. It sounded great in my head, but sounds great on paper to bet $5 to win $200 because you can't normally do that in betting, but you can do it right now over at DraftKings just by signing up in the video description box below. So if you haven't signed up for DK yet, DraftKings Sportsbook, do so there. Bet $5 on the next play I'm going to recommend, or, hell, you could put it as a single game parlay or 2 different picks from 2 different games. Whatever you want to do, bet 5. Win yourself $200. Pretty great stuff. That's 8 $25 bets it'll give you. With the Super Bowl coming up, you want the ammunition. You need the ammunition. Alrighty, back to the picks. And we reached the 1. Yes, the 1. We're going for 1 lock play on the entire board here for Wednesday slate. Again, it's a day. I'm planning to go lighter unless I can just take advantage of news. If something shows up, God knows I'm going to be taking advantage of it, but as it stands right now, the only play I'm absolutely in love with comes from Pacers and Heat in Miami here on the road. Per usual, super low total for Miami, 222.5 in the year of our Lord 2023. That is what you call pretty low. Seems as though we're going to get all of the major bodies there. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero. You do have Victor Oladipo out, Kyle Lowry out, or, respectively traded. Gabe Vincent is probable for this one, but I will say this sets up on the Indiana side as a very intriguing spot, specifically getting a lot healthier across the board there. Only guy that's even remotely possible of missing this game is Quack Quack Chris Duarte, Oregon's finest, but Tyrese Halliburton, he's back, fam. He is firing on all cylinders, and I am so confused by this line. 8.5 assists for Tyrese Halliburton. He played 36 minutes his very first game back, 34, then 31 in a blowout loss to Cleveland. If you put him in for 36 minutes in a competitive spot, which by all intents and purposes, 6.5 point spread, this isn't out of control. This isn't the 12.5 we were just looking at from the Cleveland Detroit side. Tyrese Halliburton is going to smash 8.5 assists. It's barely juiced, barely juiced beyond standard -110. 8.5 is the number. What are we doing here? He averages 10.3 on the season. He is definitely going nowhere after being traded for Domantas Sabonis in that big package, the big blockbuster that happened before the deadline last season. I don't get this in any way, shape, or form, and I get it. Miami going to be playing a lot slower paced basketball, and they just, they're lethargic. They do whatever, but for the most part, they're still pretty average when it comes to like stopping assist rates from opposing point guards. He's averaging 10.3 assists for the season. 8.5 is a broken line. It just is, fam. And I don't want to be the guy who goes, oh, look what Tyrese Halliburton's done in his last couple games. Look, he went over 11, 9, 12, 13, and 4 of his last 5. Well, I mean, 3 really is all it is. 12, 9, and 11. Every game since he came back, he has been over in the assist department. That makes this a lock button play. Over 8.5 assists for our guy, Tyrese Halliburton, Iowa State's finest. Lock it up for Wednesday. Now it starts to get a little bit unappealing. We've got the Spurs. We've got the Raptors. It is up in Toronto. Can't imagine. Well, Thaddeus Young revenge spot, I suppose. He was riding the bench for the Spurs last season. He shouldn't have been. I still think he's okay at basketball. Whatever. That's not where we should be starting this conversation. We need to start it with OG Anunoby, who's been ruled out with a wrist injury. Now, why would that be? Brian Windhorst, man. Why would that be? Oh, because he's going to get traded because he wants a bunch of money, and he should get a bunch of money in the offseason. Defensive specialist, a lot of teams. You can't get enough wings. Look what Andrew Wiggins did at the deadline for the Golden State Warriors. Fantastic stuff that they picked him up. Well, it was 2 years beforehand, but an absolute emergence by him in the 2021-22 season resulted in a chip because you can't get enough wings who can defend come postseason time. And OG Anunoby, not exactly a complete zero on the offensive end either. He's going to get paid, but until then, you got to find a suitor for him. I guarantee you Toronto's looking for that, but there's going to be just no way that I'm looking at anything on this Spurs side. I've talked about them a ton here of late. Devin Vassal's still out. Trey Jones has now been ruled out. Keldon Johnson probably sits as well. He's questionable, but lots of ways that this goes south for San Antonio. Jakob Poeltl, going back to his old stomping grounds in Toronto, the only other team that he played for in the NBA. That's more just a trivia bar fact. But as I'm saying right now, I don't like anything here. I have this about appropriate 10.2 point spread. That 10.5 looks perfect to me as a result. Toronto is the way better basketball team, but the props aren't even available here yet because OG Anunoby being out, that kind of matters. Maybe we go to the Precious Achiuwa double-double, but Precious Achiuwa could also get traded. Lots of Toronto pieces could be on the move. Fred VanVleet as well. Be on the lookout. Stuff could break that I can't even account for the night before, but I'm going to be leaning Toronto minus 10.5 because why wouldn't I? I understand. I just talked about it. I actually have this projected at 10.2, but if I do anything here, there's enough pieces, Keldon Johnson specifically, where if he gets ruled out, I've currently got him in the projection. If I took him off, it'd be about 11.5, but I do not think he plays, so there you go. Lots to be determined in this one. Lots of pieces could be on the move from both teams. Just don't bet it. Minus 10.5, just a lean. We go to Sacramento and Houston, and boy, oh boy, were the Sacramento Kings happy to get their boy De'Aaron Fox back into the mix. Missed 2 games with a personal issue, came back, played 29 minutes against Houston. Super efficient, 16, 8, and 4. Whatever. They didn't have to do much. They blew Houston out of the water in Houston. They run it back here on Wednesday, and I don't really know what to say other than, Houston, thanks for coming. Have a nice day. Drive home safely. It was not remotely competitive, but you still got 36 minutes out of Alperen Şengün. He put up 15, 7, and 7. That is 29. Now, Eric, why would you be going back to a guy who didn't do that well? Well, Domantas Sabonis is not exactly a defensive stalwart. Pretty much the opposite. We're looking at a 241.5 total. That is the largest that you have on the board currently. I doubt Minnesota-Utah eclipses it, but still, just be paying attention to it when that line comes out. But Sacramento-Houston, as it stands right now, the only play I do like is going to Şengün. I wasn't completely off of Şengün when they got Jalen Green back. Jalen Green he's just going to be that hot and cold. Yes and no. You're in, then you're out. You're up, then you're down. Shout out Katy Perry. I don't really like that analysis. But Alperen Şengün, 30.5 is points plus rebounds plus assists. Pretty close to standard juice. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. It's not a great song either. I got to move on. Yeah, see, the Minnesota Timberwolves played the Utah Jazz. It would be considered a Rudy Gobert revenge spot, but Rudy Gobert ended up playing not well. Nikola Jokic triple-double in the first half. What up? But either way, I can't celebrate. I'm still so sad about the Suns. This is just ridiculous. But Minnesota Timberwolves on the road here in Utah, and not a lot to break down here in this one. We have no line. We have no props. We could see an entirely different Utah and Minnesota team. Everybody is in play to be shipped anywhere. Kyle Anderson ended up being ruled out. He's another wing that maybe people want to pluck. He was acquired by Minnesota from Memphis. So, I mean, he's a free agent. But either way, looking at moving a piece or two, I'm imagining on the Minnesota side. And I can't imagine Utah is going to be buyers here. If anything, I could see them selling Lauri Markkanen at a complete high point. Again, perspective analysis. You got to find a dance partner. Everybody wants a partner. You know, makes you feel nice and wonderful. And not like a loser like I feel right now. But either way, Minnesota, Utah, really unappealing game to be looking at the moment. I will actually take the value of the Minnesota side simply because, hey, maybe Markkanen. Mike Conley for sure is on the trade block. You've got Jordan Clarkson. You've got that entire ensemble that could be shipped out to nowhere. They could be starting a Baji by the end of the day. You never know. Lots that could be coming up there. Hope not, though. Minnesota money line, just for value's sake. All right, finally, 2 games to go, and I do have 2 like plays for you, so stick with me, hit that like button, let's fire up Mavericks facing the Clippers, and everybody wants to talk Kyrie Irving. Ho-ho! He is making his debut with the Dallas Mavericks, the blockbuster of the entire season thus far, no doubt about it. They just, beat the Thursday trade deadline by a mile there, and now Dallas, I could be looking at them making more moves. Christian Wood, not exactly the most popular person in Jason Kidd's life. I can tell you that much. I mean, Jason Kidd, not exactly the best dude in the world, but that's a conversation for a different day. You have the Google machine. Take a look at it. But either way, Clippers, on the other side of this one, oh boy. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, really starting to put together wins. Really liking what we're seeing from them. Norman Powell off the bench, a very, very effective piece. But I want to talk Ivica Zubac here because we've got about a 10.5 point prop and a 10.5 point rebound prop here on both. I'm looking for the double dip, yo. And I haven't had a lot of these double doubles. Maybe Precious Achua. Precious. He's made me a little trigger shy after a really, really good start riding some of those props. But Ivica Zubac finding himself to minutes, and that is what matters. With Powell on the other side, with Christian Wood on the other side, I don't expect the Clippers to want to go small. They have now played him 28, 29, 40, and 30 minutes in the last 4. He is showing out. He has put up a double-double in 3 of the last 4. And we're seeing massive rebound totals, 12, 13, 13, 12. You pair that with the double-double, he should be able to own the interior if they decide to go Christian Wood repeatedly there. Powell for sure. I know Dallas is trying to win basketball games and everybody's excited to talk Kyrie, but my guy, Ivica Zubac, I really like the double-double here in this spot. He ain't going anywhere. Enjoy, like button. And the last play of the night, it's actually 2 plays for the price of 1. Oh, stick with me. Golden State facing off against Portland here, and I don't really know what either of these teams are looking at. All I know is Steph Curry, knee ligament issue again. Can I read this off again? It's really enjoyable. Well, it's not because it's horrible, but superior tibiofibular ligaments and interosseous membrane contusion to the left leg. It's bad. He's going to be out for a while. We'll put it that way. Jordan Poole immediately inserted into that starting lineup for the near future, and it looks really, really good with him firing on all cylinders. And I will say, though, I want to be pairing our guy here, somebody that I was on for points prop, assist prop, everything last game, but I am looking at pairing his 23.5 points, which is kind of the prevailing number around the industry, with a single game parlay with Anthony Simons' 22.5 points. Now, this is very strange to me, but I'm starting to see more usage coming his direction, even alongside Damian Lillard. We've now seen some massive outings, lots of 3-point attempts, 12 3-point attempts in 2 of his last 3 games. That is exciting stuff to see. He doesn't ever really get himself to the line. Kind of something you would like to see, some of those freebies, just to really, level it down, really kind of not have these ups and downs and swings in the points prop. But I've been projected around 24.5 points. So put the 2 together, that seems like a lot of fun. I think this game shoots out a little bit. If you want to pair the over of 234.5, I've got it closer to 237, but it's not such a smash that I want to be going there. I just want to go to kind of the ancillary pieces. Now, Jordan Poole, playing second fiddle to Klay Thompson based on the 12 threes we saw the other night. But Anthony Simons, no doubt about it, playing second fiddle to Damian Lillard, but really like his outlook going up against that defense here in Golden State. Not much going on the perimeter with Poole starting now. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Head to that comment section below. Let me know how sad you are about the Suns, because that's all I can talk about on this show. Well, I talked about some great bets. Let me know what you think about Tyrese Halliburton. I think that is an absolute smash. Definitely a play that's going to be on my card. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that too, but hopefully you can enjoy DraftKings as well. If you haven't signed up there, bet $5, win yourself $200 in bonus bets right now. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, y'all, I know a lot is going to change going into tomorrow and into Thursday. I'm going to do my best to bring you the analysis. Hit me up on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. Hit me up in the comment section below, or sign up for that premium Discord, talking NBA, talking hoops in there all day long. Happy to help you out there, give you my analysis, and get my premium betting card. Good stuff. But I will be back on Thursday. Going to be a wild slate, that's for sure. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Wednesday.